America, Daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play option. Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Morning, everybody. How you guys doing?
Morning,
Matt. Glad to see you guys on this beautiful Tuesday. I think Knoxville/Indianapolis, Indiana, home of the Indianapolis Colts, home of Carmel, Indiana, which is known for their roundabouts.
It's true.
Roundabouts. I love it.
Listen, I'll do a whole show on roundabout. Every time my kids know, every time they see a roundabout, then my kids will be like, and that's what you want? You want a roundabout? I wish there was a roundabout on I wish every straight light was a roundabout.
No, why do you tell me? I mean, in England, I probably almost got in a crash every time with a roundabout. What do you like? What do you like about the roundabout?
Constantly moving, Dan.
Oh,
you're always moving. You're not waiting. It's not arbitrary waiting.
That's a good point. You don't need lights or anything. It's just kind of
you just go. And the thing about England, I too saw those things, and I saw them almost get hit. Like they're just driving on the wrong side of the road.
That's it.
At the end of the day, if they drove on the right side of the road, it'd be fine.
Everything would be fine. Yeah.
Listen, I'll just say this one thing living in Roundaboutville here, because I know this is riveting content, but the trick to the roundabouts that they found out in the safety factor is they have to have something in the middle of the roundabout, because a roundabout only has one rule. The way I think about it, it's just yield. That's the rule. You go or you yield, like yield. That's the rule. And if you have a big, like landscaping, a giant tree, a big bush, a fountain, a statue, it prevents somehow that prevents people from looking across the roundabout and overthinking it. It's the automation platform.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So you put a big thing in the middle, prevents you from overthinking it, and you just follow your rule.
Automation for the roundabout. I love it.
I love it. And I would I'm just going to put this out there on the record, because I think I'll get bombasted by the production team, but I think we need to talk more roundabouts on this show as a general rule.
Well,
so
we can do live. We can do live shows.
Oh, dude, could you drive around roundabouts one morning?
Imagine the comments on the audio driving. And
how many, and just let's see how many roundabouts in a 30-minute period we could get to in Carmel.
More than you think.
All right. Well, I'll move on. But today, market looks like it's trying to stabilize a little bit. This is the first day in a long time, I think, where we have opened within 1%.
Yeah,
could be wrong about that, but I think it's at least been
a week. Yesterday it was still like 80 or 90 points. So 13 points.
Yeah. So I have a feeling, this is my theory, they are going to crush any longs that are left in this market, any long gamma. And so shout out, speaking Greek, set the Tesla to autopilot. Just watch that roundabout go, beautifully be read by the machine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think they're going to just, this is my theory. I think they're absolutely going to crush this. This is the type of price action that, as someone who likes being long gamma, just absolutely crushes you, because, 1/3% normally you start getting a little excited. You say, "Hey, we're going to get to 0.5%. We're going to have to get to," and it's
the market moved 20 points. Look at that.
It's just going to crush longs. That's my goal.
I agree with you. I think the only thing is you can still, I don't think the the game's over yet. I
No.
think you got to, at this point, you got to be more selective, like on rallies and stuff when the VIX comes down, right? Like yesterday, when the market was up, right? VIX was more down than I think at the end of the day. And if you pick your spots and maybe do a calendar or something, right?
Yeah.
On the downside, you get a little bit of pump. I just think you're not going to get the pump, 7 points. I mean, Matt, on the historic day, you did the calendar I think last week where the vols raised like 9 points in an hour or whatever. And you're like, wow, this is like Beverly Hillbillies. They're throwing money at you on the long Vega trade. I think that might be over for a week.
Right. Well, and it's a short week, and there's a lot of discussion about short weeks are just different. Reminder: Friday is U.S. It's a national holiday. Yeah, it's Good Friday here for Easter weekend here in the States, and so the markets are closed on Friday. So it begs the question. I had been fond of saying the 100-point candles will continue until morale improves. Are people starting to just want a break from this? Are people getting tired? I kind of agree with you guys that I think short term, we might be in for a little bit of choppier, little bit, smoother relative to what it has been. Long term, I also agree that I don't think this is over at all. But yeah, we only have 3 more days and then we have 3 days off. So,
and I'll just put this in here real quick. Whether your country has a national holiday or not, wherever you are in the world, Friday is Good Friday.
It's true.
So shout out to that. But anyway, let's keep going. So Dan, we have a new segment. I'm very excited about this. We looked at a test last week, and let me show you that test real quick. Yesterday, good Lord, 24 hours ago, we looked at a test.
What a weird week.
What a weird week indeed. And this is a reverse calendar. So just to recap real quick, this is SPY because of the margin. You can do this in ES for cheaper SPX. It's going to cost you basically portfolio margin to be able to do this. Each spread's going to be about 100,000. So you are buying the 20 points down. So the equivalent of 200 points down to SPX, 7 days out put, and you're selling the put that's 30 days out. That's 20 points below that. And you're collecting a credit on this. And this is a trade that was set up as a hedge. So this week, to remember, we're looking at, we're doing the thing that we tell people not to do all the time. We're curve fitting, but we're curve fitting for a good cause, because you can go back and you can look at COVID and watch what it does in these high vol regimes. And that's really good, useful information for your put selling stuff, for your tail hedging stuff, like all this stuff. It's good to go back and look at specific data points. Then you want to go back and say, if I'm going to actually run this strategy, not in this environment, I need to run it for a longer time period. We're just looking basically at the last week, a Liberation Day until April 12th, and so the profit target, the exit on this is at 100%, you close 25. At 300, you close 25. At 500, you close 25. You close and 1,000, you close 25.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have a fun new segment that we like to call the Greeks with the boss, Mr. Dan Sheridan. So Dan, we have your screen up.
Yes.
Can you explain the Greeks of this trade?
Yes. Yeah. And I dedicate this segment to the coach from the Chicago, Mike Ditka, the coach.
Shout out the Bears.
Yeah, shout out to Mike Ditka, wherever you are. But this is an interesting strategy, and I like this. I mean, I think Troy, perfect timing, and I think folks take this strategy and put it away in your Rolodex for the next time, and we will, right? At some point, there will be another, whether we have a correction at some point or whatever, there'll be a rainy day in a few years or whatever. Bring this thing out. This was I like Troy's, I'm going to call this Troy's tweak to it, right? Like in gymnastics, don't a lot of them, they'll have little moves after the people, they have their own.
I would definitely tweak something if I was doing gymnastics. So
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I would tweak. But if you look here we are just using the close and SPY of 538. And this trade is really designed for an environment. And I can't say it any more plain words. You're looking for a move, right? This is, this is Troy in The Big Short, right? You're looking for Michael Carroll or whatever. You're looking for a move. And so if you look here, the Greeks, so what Troy did is he bought the long 100 points. Did I do that right? 20 points down in the SPY, 7 days out. And then he sold the 30-day put 20 points underneath. Is that the right kind of how it looks, Troy?
Yeah, and with the caveat that I didn't do SPY, I didn't do this as location. I did ES.
And we'll get
same concept.
Same concept. And so the idea in a diagonal versus a calendar, a diagonal is a mixed month spread with different strikes. A calendar is a mixed month spread with same strike. All right. So here, Troy wanted to lean a little bit short delta, so he sold the put 30 days out, 20 points further down. So SPX language, this is 200 points down that Troy is buying the put, and then he's selling the other put 200 points further down, SPX language. But if you look at the graph, your credit in this case yesterday was about $2.60, and you say, well, how do I make so much money if we just fall apart here? And the answer is you're not net long puts, but you're long the right put for a move. You're long the near term 7-day. So that put's going to go to 100 as we go down much quicker than your short put is. And you can see here, if we just have a 2% move here, which is 11 points in SPY or so, you go from minus 1.9 delta short to 9 delta short. So the gamma, you have positive gamma. Unlike a double calendar or a range bound trade, you're going to get long deltas as we go up. Good. So you're not losing money on the upside. You're going to get short deltas on the way down. You're not going to lose money on the downside. How do you lose money on this? Can you lose money? And the other thing is, like Troy mentioned, in SPY, the margin would be 50 grand. So it's just not going to happen. You're either going to do this strategy in a portfolio margin account, or Troy did it in what, E-minis, Troy?
Yeah, E-minis.
E-minis. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is you don't need to pick direction. Even though you're not going to get hurt either way, by doing it in the puts versus the calls, that's where he's loaded for bear, right? As we go down, you're just, you can see the graph there, right? It just keeps giving. So you're going to make much. This isn't like you can only make your credit, right? You can make a lot more than your credit. The only negative of this is, or the main negative is, if it just sits here, you have some risk, right? But if it goes down into the sea of death, this is the Bermuda Triangle around the 520 area, you can get, as they say in Canada, right? You can get hosed, right? Now, the only reason I'm not that concerned about the sea of death on the downside is because the downside doesn't usually just kind of hang around, right? It doesn't go down real slow, like, we're going to shoot. We're going to move. We're probably, and this is at the expiration graph, right? So this is really what you're looking at, the purple graph, but there is risk. The sea of death is basically at your long put. So what else was I going to say real quick? So you could see on 2% moves, 3% moves, you're fine. You're getting short on the way down, long on the way up. Now, the only thing is, if you look at this, if we take this 1 week into the future, 1 week into the future, you could see on the downside, you're wonderful. Upside, you're okay. But if we somehow take a vacation in the sea of death, you could see how it can come down, right? But here's what this isn't. Yeah, what this isn't showing is the speed, right? And the speed will help because you have that your long is 7 days from expiration. So I think this is in the pit, we used to do this type of a trade quite a bit, but you had good margin requirements. So again, in an E-mini, and I think that's an E-mini account or portfolio margin, this and like ratio back spreads, this type of trade, reverse calendar or reverse diagonal, that's what I would call these things, and a ratio back spread were like kind of the bigger hedges or what would you say, or speculative trades that the pit traders would do. So I like this trade a lot, and I like that he bought, by buying it out of the money, Troy. That works nice, right? With the T+0 curve, you're really, again, your theta, right? If we don't move or go up is fine, and you're just, it's just like orbiting. And if the vol goes down as we go up, you're still fine. So this type of trade, if the vol collapses, you're fine. You just have one risk if we go slow on the downside. And as they say, it ain't happening usually, right? And it didn't happen this time. There was no slow movement.
Right.
And really, I've got these price slices set at 2% to be reality, over the last, during Troy's experience with this, it was more 3%, right? And so, on the downside, it's just, okay, what do I want to do? Do I take a few off here? But the upside is no problem. And was the sea of death ever a problem, Troy? When you had these on, did it ever not do something? You didn't really get the effects of negative theta, did you?
No. But I mean, to your point, I was never going to I can speak honestly amongst friends because I think the internet's just a bunch of friends, so
that's right.
There'd be no negative comments or anything like that amongst
Nope.
friends. My downfall is I should have held it longer. I went from a great return into to be honest, a very life-changing return if I would have held it a little bit longer. But I think the point, to Dan's point, which I think this is a great segment, any strategy requires you to get out at a certain point.
That's right.
Yeah, and you don't know.
And you don't know. And so the way I was never going to hold these for multiple days. Like this was a 1-day trade to me, 2 days at the max, and it turned into 2 days because we just kept dropping. And so I definitely would have got out if it went up, because I would hate to have a false rally and then go back down into the sea. Then this trade loses money. If we went up 100 points, 20, in SPY, 10 points, 20 points, and then the next week is a slow reversion, this would have lost money. So you have to kind of know ahead of time with hedges what your exit strategy is. And I'll put it this way. This is how much of an idiot I am. I had forgot that in another brokerage account, I had a small amount of puts that I had bought 2 months before.
Long puts?
Long puts.
Just put, okay.
Yeah, just a couple. Like sprinkling them in, slowly building this thing. Dan, I looked last week. I thought they had expired like April 1st, but they hadn't. They expired like April 10th. At the height of that thing, they were like $1,000 a SPY put.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Now, guess what happened after the fact? They're worth what they were before. Like they've come back down.
Yeah.
So you have to enter into a before you ever put a hedge on, well, before ever put any trade on, you have to know when you're getting out.
Yeah.
And you have to do that because when you're in the moment of emotion, you'll just get absolutely wrecked.
Well, this trade, I have a name proposal for it. There's an old like bluesy gospel song called "You Gotta Move." Did you guys know this song? That is what this trade is. You gotta move. You gotta move. And when the vol gets ready, you gotta move.
You said in any negative theta trade, right? You got to move. I like that. Troy, maybe we could get that. You got to move.
We can definitely. That
tomorrow.
song is definitely in the public domain. I bet.
Yeah. Troy, can I ask you two questions on that? One,
Sure.
people are looking at this margin of $49,000 to do one spread, just to give them just a rough feel of how an E-mini, when you were doing this in E-mini, what would one of these kind of be worth I mean, what would the margin be in E-mini, something on this?
Margin in E-mini is less than SPY, which is crazy because it's 5 times the size of SPY. And so, and here's the trade-off. The commissions are higher on ES contracts.
Mm.
So there's a cost to everything. But the reason I did ES, A, was the margin, but B, and more importantly, is Liberation Day was going to be an overnight move.
That's right.
That's right.
And so my fear was that all the action happens overnight, as we've seen a million times in the market.
That's right.
And then, you open up at 9:30 unched. And so I wanted to get out early, so I did ES. But
you didn't want to get unched. You got to move.
That's right. But to the point, I mean, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this, but I mean, I think the margin was closer to like 1,500 a contract, a spread.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And the other thing, so you were basically, if someone asked risk management wise, your goal was, and you were actually in it just a couple of days, right?
Yeah, 2 days.
And you just scaled. You picked spots to scale. Would that be the right thing to say?
Yeah, I had so what I did basically is I had this was my personal plan. You'd have to adjust, but my personal plan going into it was so that was Wednesday. By Thursday end of day, if I have not hit my profit targets, I'm getting out of this trade. Slight loser, slight winner, whatever it is. And then my profit targets were indiscriminately. I just set profit targets on each spread, and I had a lot of spreads. And I just put them on and just watched. I mean, those first couple of nights, you just stay up half the night because you're just watching these spreads get hit. So it's like, let's say, like hypothetically, let's say the credit I received was $3.
Yeah.
Well, you're putting it on. The way this works is you're getting out for a $2 debit. So you've made $1 on that. You're getting out for $1 debit. You've made $2 on that. You're getting out for $3 debit. You know, 0.5 cents debit. You made $3 on that. But then it flips and you say, I'm making a $5 credit, a $7 credit, a $9 credit, a $19 credit, a $29 credit. And all of them got hit eventually. But within those 2 days, which was insane. And so everything just got out. But that type of spread, holding it, not to talk my book, but like a $59 credit if I would have held it a little bit longer for a $3 credit opening.
I'll tell you where I would have screwed up on that, Troy. I'll be honest.
Up quick.
When you get these trades that have the you get in for a credit, you might get out for a debit or a credit. That can be, I'll tell you, you got to be careful. When the markets, I mean, did you find yourself from the math trying to just, because there's a lot of excitement going on in the market. It's going crazy. You have profits on the table, but you want to make sure, am I doing a Three Stooges?
Any hedge, yeah, for sure. Any hedge also, you're terrified that it's going to revert. That's your number one concern about any of this.
And those can be violent too. The reversions can be, as we saw.
So as soon as you're in profit with a hedge in this environment, with a market that's on crack cocaine, you are always counter hedging as well. So that's another like a complicated gamma scalp, and that's what I was doing along the way too. So I was taking profit, but on the way to those profits, I was trying to get long in different ways that made sense to me. We don't have time for them, but not long in gamma, long in direction that would just if we had a rally, it would benefit me. So
Yeah.
anyway, I don't want this to be the Troy hour, but you guys did.
I think in the world of hedges, and I think that's an interesting that, over the next couple of weeks or some, whenever, that at different points discuss more hedges so that the next rainy day, and we'll have one, that people will have an idea of what are some things that can benefit from direction, right? Either way.
Yeah.
But there's a plan there. And by Troy coming at it from a little bit of the short Vega, he didn't have, one of his fears wasn't that volatility would collapse, right? I mean,
Right.
you just,
Right.
I mean, the biggest fear on this trade is just, are we going to, like Troy said, go up and then come down and vacation in the sea of death,
Yeah.
which is where the blue line dips, which is going to be near your long option. And I'm not, considering the plan was to stay in it 2 days, that wasn't even a consideration to me. If 2 days is your limit, right? If one or, you're playing, but if you were going to hold this to expiration of your long, that would be like, you might as well just go to the Bermuda Triangle and stay in the middle and wait to see it get swallowed up. I mean,
this type of trade to me is the most, it's why I love options so much.
Yeah.
Is like, some of you listening might be new to options. You might be like, "What in the heck are they talking about?" And blessings to you.
Yeah, this is a very advanced concept.
Yes, absolutely. And you don't want to do this in a retirement account. You don't want to do it in a Reg T generally. But the E-mini, and the other thing I say about an E-mini, I think I have not traded an E-mini, but I want to. But I think for most people, unless you get more experienced, I'd stay away from the E-mini even, because the E-mini is going to Vegas and them saying, hey, you don't know much about gambling. Don't worry about it. We're going to comp your room. We're going to take care of you. But if it goes against you, Uncle Guido will be at your door with his friend Antonio, and they will take your money. And that's the thing, right, Troy? I mean, if it goes against you in a portfolio margin account, which this position, it doesn't really go against you. Right. But I just think there has to be a respect of understanding.
Yeah.
It's a risk-based account in the E-mini and the portfolio margin versus a Reg T account is you put up your risk. But in a risk-based account, you have to, if you don't understand if you don't understand the strategy, there could be a tragedy.
That's beautiful. I love that. That's a Yogi Berra. That's a Yogi Berra. Yeah. We should wrap it up, but I will say, tomorrow we're going to look at some other hedges that you could have put on. We're curve fitting, so I can promise you they're going to be really good results. But I will say, in closing with this type of trade too, E-mini, we don't give financial advice in general, but E-mini is dangerous for this reason too. Depending on how much money you have in your account, it don't take much money to be able to sell a naked put or a naked call in E-minis. The margin's a lot less, so you can go naked in that. And what you don't want to do with these type of trades is, this is a complicated trade, but it's not rocket science. But one of the things about it is, what you don't want to do is try to game the system by saying, well, we had a 2-day, we've shorted 2 days, like we went down 2 days. I'm going to close my longs, which are in a huge, massive profit, and I'm going to keep my shorts, and we're going to revert.
Wow.
And then, now here's the dangerous thing. That would have worked. But
you're also, right, it is dangerous. Yeah.
Also, what happens if last Monday when we opened, the Globex session at 6 p.m. down 280 points, if we wouldn't have rebounded then? You would not be. So you can absolutely blow up your account in the ES. You have to be really careful.
One quick point, if I could, just leaving a thought with people. I've gotten this a lot from beginning traders. Dan, I can sell a naked put. I've got 400 points before it kicks in, and I'm like, I don't care about the price move, right? I mean, I do care, but I said what I'm concerned about is when we go down 300 points. And volatility goes up 10, 15 points. That's right. And you look at, say, how in the world am I down that much money? right?
Yeah. Are you
And
going to hold
then,
on to it? What are you going to do when
yeah,
vol is doing that?
well, what are you going to, and then you get the call from the margin department say,
Right.
hey, we got Guido on the phone, would like to talk to you. And it's like, hey, you need to put up 100 grand in about 10 minutes or we're going to break your toes. And that's the, that's the thing people don't look at. They look at price, but they forget there's something called
That's right.
implied volatility. And that's really the nasty one, right?
Yeah.
Because how did that $3 option get to 100? Right?
That's right.
It's
That's
not
exactly
from
right.
price. It's
No,
from, it's still in that short option is still 200 points from hitting the short strike. You're saying that's not, how does it do it? Well, that's called volatility going up. But anyways.
No, that's exactly right. So, I mean, today we're going to open for the first time. Well, even before the Trump stuff, the Liberation Day stuff, we're going to open for, I can't remember the last time, and it's been weeks where we've opened Unched. I mean,
VIX is probably going to be down. Yeah, VIX has got to be down.
Yeah, VIX is going to get crushed today. So, anyway, be safe out there. It only takes one tweet to set off the next round. So, y'all be safe, and we will plan on seeing you guys tomorrow.